on time. Late.
Galvin time. Galvin time.
Yeah.
So, pulled up in the parking lot, Cracker Barrel, gonna go in and eat. And, haven't met the guy at all. So, and he was standing there along with Chris, and I said, "I'm Mr. Galvin. I'm Paul Deshane. I'm Jenny's boyfriend." And she, "How did you know him?" "Well, I only see the picture." I just had that present. So
Yeah.
I just only had half hour or so with him at the Cracker Barrels.
But when I pulled up, there's Paul, Dad, and Chris. All you know how they have the rocking chairs. They're all up front, sitting in the rocking chairs.
You look the same for many years. One is, so I'm Scooter. I'm married to Marty's next youngest daughter, Molly, father of Larkin. And Molly and I went to Antioch College together, and there were some moments towards the end where it was like struggled, like how are we going to afford this, we being Molly and her family, this like, you know, big bill. And you see a line at the business office of like parents like, all right, well, what about if I give you an IOU? What if I, you know, sell my car, something like that? And Marty comes up. Molly's gonna graduate from this place and she's gonna stay in here, and I swear to God, if like we could just like power with like Marty's righteous fury, we could solve like, you know, the energy crisis, or you could just like bottle that. You could like, you know, sell it and get away with it. When he was determined, especially when it was like, you know, for Molly's benefit, he could, you know, make anything happen. So needless to say, Molly graduated. Maybe some of these other kids didn't. Second is
With
a
a big old IOU to Antioch, so alone.
She's paid that off yet. But anyways, devil's in the details. First time seeing Marty in community theater was like one of those where, you know, it's like the Big Bang Theory where
I
like
forgot all about that.
everything came out of nothing. It was just like an immovable object and an unstoppable force. It was like Marty on stage and a whole bunch of people who had never seen his charisma before, and you put them together, and it was like this was like should have been made, you know, 1,000 years ago, and everybody would have been like, "Oh, what are you doing? Community theater? Oh, you mean the Marty Theater? We're doing the Marty Theater." That's what it is.
100%.
So I'll follow that, Scooter. So I, kind of like you said, like I don't have a ton of memories of Marty. Oh, sorry, I'm Stacy. I am Marty's great niece and also his goddaughter. I was very lucky to have him as my godfather. So, but there were all of the things that you read. I remember the cigars. I definitely remember the red licorice, and I still love red licorice.
We have some in our car.
But what I remember is he was the only person on this planet who could walk into my grandparents' house. So his sister and brother-in-law, so my dad's parents, he was the only person who could walk in like he owned the place, besides Norm and Susie. Like, no, I couldn't. My mom and dad couldn't. Like, no one rolled in like Marty did. Cigar and everything, and it was amazing. It was like, oh, somebody's not afraid of them. So I just, the boisterousness, just the jolly, he was amazing. The other thing I would share on behalf of my dad, who passed away a long time ago, when my dad was getting ready to give his first lead in AA, he called Mart for like just to have the conversation of like, how do I do this? Do I find the courage? How do I tell my story? Like I haven't done this, you have. And he was someone that my dad really looked up to in recovery. So I just want to share that on behalf of my dad too, because I remember, and then when Dad gave his first lead, he shared that. And so it was just, like I was just sobbing in the audience. But yeah, so he was extraordinarily special. And yeah, so thank you for letting us be here today too. Yeah.
Aww.
I'll follow up with Stacy. I'm Stacy's mother. My name is Sandy. And I have so many memories of Marty and all of you. It's just a wonderful thing. And I want to, first of all, thank you for including us in this amazing day. It's just joyful. But I remember his cigars. I'm like, he would just chomp those things for hours. But he was always so fun, and he was always willing to listen, and he was very non-judgmental. And he was very kind to Bill and I, and it was an honor to ask him to be Susie's godfather. So I thank you for today. I feel real special.
I'm going to go next because I don't want to sing. I'm not a singer. I'm not a performer. I am Beth, married to Brian, mother of Evelyn and Lissa and Emmett. And I moved home after college because we had gotten news that my dad's heart had such severe blockage, and they gave him a very small amount of time to live. And of course, he outlived that by over a decade. He was not going to be, nothing was going to get him down. But one of my favorite, there's a million stories, but I was in college and he had called just to check in as he did. And he told me he'd run into a dad of one of my friends, and she was at Ohio State and had a 4.0 and was doing all these things. And my dad asked her dad, but how is she? Like, what's going on? Like, is she happy? And that's what he wanted for all of us. And he would always want to know, he was so proud of every single one of his children and their family, and there was no judgment. And he wanted to know, are you happy? If you're digging ditches, are you happy? You know, I came home after college, worked at a golf course, and I don't even know where I worked. It didn't matter. And I still have that in my heart that I'm happy and proud of whatever I'm doing. And my dad gave me that gift. Like, I could be working at a grocery store, checking out groceries with my college degree, and I'd be proud of myself because my dad made me proud of myself. And that was just the biggest gift. And he would talk about everybody, Judy and Ray and Bob, everybody, and Caitlin, my God, you know, Bebop, how proud he was of each and every one of us. And that's the gift I have from him. So that's it. Now I'm going to cry. So next, whoever doesn't want to sing.
I'll go next. I don't want to sing. I make babies cry when I sing. So, unlike Dad, who one of my fondest memories, I have so many, like running lines with him when he was in community theater, and I did not always know what the lines to Guys and Dolls meant, and then I learned the nuances. Entendres. But I would run lines with him. But one of my favorite memories is actually when Sullivan was little, and he came down to Columbus to visit us. And she was just, you know, she was a baby. And he literally laid down on the floor with her and just crawled around with her and sang to her. And super inappropriate, he sang Mammy Mine. But it was that deep bellowy song. Super inappropriate, but that was, you know, his times. And he said, and he just, the smile, she had just the best smile, and he called her Sullivan the Great.
Yep.
And he said, and Mom had told me at that time that when she was breastfeeding, when she had babies, that he would get up in the night with us, and he would change us, and he would rock us, and he would give us to her to feed, and she would practically be asleep the whole time. He'd take us back, he would burp us, sing to us, and put us back to bed. And at the time, it didn't hit me. It wasn't until later that I was like, and then he would go be a lawyer. Like, he wasn't like, now I'm going to go check out groceries or something that was, you know, could be a little more mindless. Like, he was very, like, there wasn't that, I'm the man, so I'm going to just do this, and you deal with the kids. And, like, when I knew him, and I'm sure he was a very different dad to all of us throughout, and I'm the youngest, but the stories that they would tell me and what I know of his being a father and a grandfather was such a joy. And I remember him sitting and watching. It was Jimmy and Jennifer were visiting, and it was Sully's birthday party, and they were little, and they were all going to the pool, and he just sat back and watched as all the grandkids were playing, and he had the biggest smile on his face, and just, he really enjoyed seeing people be joyful. That was the biggest thing.